If you live in an HDB flat and you have just brought a rabbit home, the question you are quietly panicking about is the same one everyone asks in the Facebook groups. Can I actually litter train this thing? Or am I going to be wiping pee off the floor for the next 10 years? The good news is that litter training a rabbit is real, it works, and it is honestly easier than most people fear. The slightly annoying news is that almost everyone gets the order of operations wrong, and that is why they struggle. I'm a rabbit owner, not a vet. I keep my rabbit in a small flat just like you, and I read the Singapore Rabbit groups so you do not have to scroll through 300 comments to find the one useful reply. Everything I am about to share is grounded in our own care guide on Singapore Rabbit. Home, written for flats, for the heat, and for the way most of us keep rabbits here, which is free roam or in a pen in a corner of a small space. So here is what we'll cover today, start to finish. Let me start with the thing that makes all of this possible, because once you understand it, the whole training plan suddenly makes sense. Rabbits are naturally clean animals. In the wild, they do not soil their whole burrow. They pick a spot, usually a corner, and they go back to that same spot to urinate again and again. They will drop pellets while they roam around. But the we, the part you actually care about, gets concentrated in one place. This instinct is your best friend. What this means in practice is simple. You do not teach a rabbit where to go from scratch. You watch where it has already decided to go, and you put the box there. Our care guide puts it plainly. Placing a litter box in the corner the rabbit has already chosen completes most of the training on its own. You are not fighting the rabbit. You are agreeing with it. That is the entire mindset shift. So before you buy anything, before you set up anything fancy, just watch your rabbit for a few days and notice which corner it keeps coming back to. Now I have to talk about the single biggest factor in whether litter training sticks, and it is not the box, the litter, or your patience. It is whether your rabbit is spayed or neutered. Our guide is very direct about this. Altering the rabbit is the single biggest factor in long-term litter habits. An unaltered rabbit can train beautifully as a baby, and then, somewhere around 4 to 6 months old, hormones kick in, and suddenly it is marking territory and spraying wee up the walls. This is not the rabbit being naughty, it is biology. So if your once tidy bunny has turned into a tiny graffiti artist, this is usually why. I am not going to give you any medical detail here, and I will never tell you what to do to your rabbit, because that is a conversation for your vet. What I will say is this. If your rabbit is reaching adolescence, or it has started spraying, talk to a rabbit-savvy vet about spaying or neutering. That single conversation does more for litter training than any product you can buy. If you do not have a vet you trust with rabbits, we keep a directory of rabbit-friendly clinics on singaporerabbit.com. Because not every clinic here actually sees rabbits. Okay, let us talk about what goes in the box, because this is where people accidentally make dangerous choices. The safe options are simple. Paper-based recycled litter. The non-clumping, low-dust kind is the easy default. Compressed wood pellet litter also works very well. It absorbs odor, and it is cost-effective, which matters in a closed flat. Aspen shavings are acceptable too, just a bit dustier. Any of these will do the job and keep the smell down. Now here is the part I really need you to hear. Do not use clumping clay cat litter. Rabbits nibble at their litter, and clumping clay can be toxic if it is eaten, because it expands. Do not use pine or cedar shavings either. The aromatic oils in them can irritate a rabbit's airways. And a closed HDB flat with the windows shut and the aircon on traps that even more. And skip anything scented. It might smell nice to you, but it is too strong for a small animal living right on top of it. The cat litter aisle is full of things that are fine for cats and a real problem for rabbits. So read before you buy. Here is the trick that quietly does half the work for you, and almost nobody sets it up on purpose. Put hay right over the box, or in a rack hanging just above it, so the rabbit has to sit in the box to eat. Rabbits like to eat and wee at the same time. It sounds odd, but it is completely normal for them. When the hay is over the box, the rabbit spends far more time sitting there, and every minute it sits there reinforces the habit. Our guide describes this as roughly tripling the time they spend on the box. It is the single highest leverage thing you can set up on day one. So the box is not just a toilet, it is also the dining table. A quick word on the box itself. A shallow plastic cat litter tray, somewhere around 30 by 40 centimeters, is perfect for most rabbits. It needs low sides so a rabbit can hop in without thinking about it. And it needs to be big enough that the whole rabbit fits with room to turn around. Too small is a real cause of misses, and the box has to live in the corner the rabbit already chose, not the corner that is convenient for you. If you move it to where you would prefer, do not be surprised when the rabbit keeps going back to its original spot. Now the actual method, week by week, the way our guide lays it out. Week 1 is pure observation and placement. You watch where your rabbit naturally wheezes, and you put the box in that exact corner. You do not expand anything yet. You are just confirming the instinct and giving it a target. Keep the rabbit in a smaller area, a pen or one zone, so it cannot wander far and the box is always close by. Week 2 is about reinforcing what is working. In week 2, if the rabbit uses the box, you simply leave it alone. Success is quiet. When there is an accident, and there will be, you clean it immediately. And how you clean it matters more than you think. Use a vinegar and water mix, roughly 1 part vinegar to 5 parts water, to break down the scent. The reason is the whole game here. Rabbits return to wee where they can smell their old wee. If any scent is left behind, that spot becomes a marker, and they will keep going there. So cleaning is not just about hygiene, it is about erasing the invitation to remark. And please, never punish a rabbit for an accident. I want to be really clear about this because it comes up constantly in the groups. Do not shout, do not tap the nose, do not rub their face in it. Rabbits genuinely cannot connect the mess to a telling off that comes after. All they learn is that you, the giant who looms over them, are frightening. A scared rabbit is a worse rabbit to train, not a better one. You stay calm, you clean the spot, and you move on. That is the whole response. Weeks 3 and 4 are when you start expanding. Slowly, with supervision, you let the rabbit have a bit more space, but you add a second litter box so there is always one within reach. You watch for the tell, which is a little squat and a lift of the tail just before they go. When you see that pre-wee squat somewhere it should not happen, you gently scoop the rabbit and place it in the nearest box. You are not punishing, you are just redirecting in the moment, which is the only timing a rabbit actually understands. Then comes the part everyone is impatient for. Full free roam. Weeks 4 to 8 are when you can open things up to full free roam, if that is your setup. The key rule from our guide is 1 litter box per room or per zone. The bigger the territory, the more boxes you need, because a rabbit will not cross the whole flat to reach a toilet when nature calls. Expect 1 to 2 weeks of fresh accidents whenever you expand the space, because to a rabbit, new territory is a new problem to solve. That is not failure, that is just the cost of more freedom. For most adult rabbits, reliable habits land in about 2 to 4 weeks. Babies take longer, so do not compare a 4-month-old to a settled adult. Now a few things specific to living with a rabbit in a small flat here. Smell is the big one in an HDB flat, because we live in closed boxes with the aircon on and the windows shut against the heat. The answer is not stronger scented litter, it is more frequent cleaning. Scoop daily, do a full litter change every few days, and the box simply will not smell. A rabbit will also start to reject a box that has gone too dirty, which then causes accidents. So regular cleaning solves the smell and the training at the same time. Hard flooring helps too. Tile and vinyl are far easier to wipe than carpet or fabric, and they do not hold scent the way soft surfaces do. One more thing that saves a lot of unnecessary worry. Stray poops are normal, and I need you to make peace with this. Even a perfectly litter-trained rabbit will drop a few pellets here and there as it moves around. Urine they will concentrate in the box. Pellets? Not always, and that is just rabbits being rabbits. The dry round droppings are easy to sweep or hoover up off a hard floor, and they are nothing like the problem that wee is. So judge your training by the wee, not by the odd pellet. If the urine is going in the box, you have won. A few pellets on the floor is not a training failure. It is a Tuesday. Now the most important section, the one I want you to actually remember. Once your rabbit is trained, its habits become a signal. If a rabbit that was reliably using its box suddenly stops or starts weeing everywhere again, do not assume it is being difficult. A sudden change like that can mean something is wrong. It can be a health issue, the kind of thing that changes how and where a rabbit wees. Or it can mean the rabbit is not spayed or neutered and the hormones have arrived. Either way, that is not a training problem to push through on your own. So let me say the rule clearly. If your trained rabbit's toilet habits change suddenly, The first move is a rabbit-savvy vet, not another bag of litter. I am not going to guess at causes, and neither should you, because the things that cause this can be the kind you want a vet to look at sooner rather than later. Our care guide says the same. Check for medical issues first when a previously trained rabbit regresses. And if it turns out to just be a hormonal teenager, your vet is also the right person to talk to about spaying or neutering, which loops right back to the biggest factor we started with. When in doubt, do not wait it out, get it checked. So that is the whole picture. Work with the corner the rabbit already chose. Get it spayed or neutered when the time is right by talking to your vet. Use safe paper or wood pellet litter and never clumping clay or pine and cedar. Hang the hay over the box. Start confined and expand slowly with a box in every zone. Clean accidents with vinegar water so nothing gets remarked, and never punish. Accept the stray pellets, control the smell with cleaning not fragrance, and treat any sudden change as a reason to see a vet. Do that, and the litter-trained rabbit in a small flat is completely normal, not a miracle. If this helped, the full written version of this guide is on singaporerabbit.com with the step-by-step plan, the safe litter list, and our directory of rabbit-friendly vets here in Singapore. We send out a free weekly digest for local rabbit owners, real flat-tested advice for the heat and the small spaces we actually live in, so head over and join us there. Next time I am going to walk through setting up a rabbit pen in a small HDB flat, the size, the flooring, the heat, and the layout that keeps a free-roam rabbit happy without taking over your whole living room. If you are figuring out rabbit life in Singapore, subscribe so you do not miss it, and I will see you in the next one.